Glass of water?
Yeah, maybe something. Now, back before there was cheese, there were dinosaurs, which we also found in Copley. All right. Well, who knew that Copley is the home to the very controversial Akron Fossils and Science Center? Now, why are you wondering? Is it controversial? Well, we're going to talk to the founder and president, Bill Sanderson. How are you?
Hey, good,
Nice
Robin.
to meet
nice
you.
Nice to meet you as well.
All right, so first of all, let's establish you're open Saturdays only right now.
Friday and Saturday to the public in the wintertime.
Okay.
Groups by appointment.
All right, okay. Now, why is this place so controversial, Bill?
Well, it's controversial because we encounter this whole question about creation versus evolution. And our whole mission is to talk about the intelligent design creation model in contrast to the evolutionary model.
All right. Now, I understand it takes about 45 minutes to go through the whole place.
Correct.
But I can give you only 4 minutes.
We can do that.
So, Bill, condense it down.
I will do that.
What happens in this room?
Well, in this room, we begin our conversation with how are fossils formed. It doesn't take millions of years to form a fossil. In fact, a very short period of time. Now, what you saw initially when you were looking at the Triceratops, that's not really a fossil. That's an artist's rendition of that particular animal. We don't really know what a fleshed out animal looks like that would have lived at that time frame. And the T-Rex is not really. That's a casting of the T-Rex that we found out west. And the hadrosaur skull over there is also. But we really do have real fossils. In fact, we have the state fossil called the trilobite, and that's a real fossil.
Toad.
It does. Well, it's actually a creature that lived in the bottom of the sea.
Okay. Millions of years ago?
Well, we're not so sure that it was millions of years ago.
Okay.
And this is a real oviraptor dinosaur egg. And
really?
the kids, yep, fossilized, of course.
I just want to touch that.
Of course. Now, if you put your chicken bones outside, they're not going to fossilize, Robin. They're going to be scavenged, they're going to be eaten, and so forth. So, to form a fossil, it has to be buried very quickly. And then, of course, the minerals harden the cellular structures, and then they become fossils.
All right. Now, you were telling me that in this room, you show kids that paper can fly.
Yeah, if you try to fly paper, it doesn't do very well. But if you add design to that paper, then actually you can make something that flies very well. In fact, we teach the kids how to make a paper airplane that'll fly 200 feet. We take them outside when we're done and let them fly it.
All right, and you have some great stuff outside.
Outside is what we call Triassic Park. And Triassic Park, we have a 56-foot slide, a 200-foot zip line. We have.
Oh, stop right there. Let's go.
Okay, well, I don't know if we want to do that. It's a little snowy out right now.
Maybe not.
One of the things we want to really talk about is the fact that the evidence for both the evolutionary scientists as well as the creation science is the very same. The evidence is the same. What's not the same is the interpretation of that evidence.
All right.
And in fact, that's why we usually stop at Assumption Junction and make that point that the data is the same. In fact, I always say that the data is cast in stone. What's not is the interpretation. Once we enter this area, we talk about the other evidences that say, maybe the world is not millions of years old. Maybe the evolutionary model for millions of years is not necessarily the kind of model that we can hang our scientific hat on. In fact, if you look, the fossil record is full of big things. That actually is an 8-foot salamander found in Texas.
Oh my.
And if you look underneath it, and we always have the kids do that, they're actually teeth. I don't mean salamanders that you'll have in your hand are a lot smaller than that, and they don't have teeth.
Oh, yeah.
But the fossil record shows things were much bigger in the past. And in fact, one of the things that has never been overcome is this whole business that non-living things make things come alive. Minerals are beautiful things, so non-living things can be beautiful, but they're not necessarily going to come alive. And we have a nice mineral collection here. But one of the items that we like to talk about is Grand Canyon. And the question is always, was it a little water over millions of years, or perhaps it was a lot of water in a short period of time? And if you look at this model very carefully, there's a lot of information, but I can summarize it very clearly. If those layers had laid there for a period of time, there should be topsoil in between there. There should be erosion marks. We don't find any of that. We also don't find any sort of meteorite activity in between those rock layers, and we know that meteorites pummel the Earth on an annual basis, and you can kind of tell meteorites are high in nickel content frequently.
Oh, yeah.
And we only find meteorite activity on the very top. We should actually see meteorite activity all through those layers.
Very interesting.
And what's very important is if you compare what actually happened with Mount St. Helens, in a very short period of time, that canyon was carved out by a lot of water. And if you study Mount St. Helens and what actually happens, the north side of that thing blew apart, knocked down all kinds of trees, filled up Spirit Lake, and jammed up the Tuttle River.
Okay.
When that thing finally breached, it carved out a canyon about 1/40th the size of Grand Canyon.